Welcome to Vocal Director Masterclass. My name is Abigail Crown. I am one of your facilitators this morning. And so let's get started. Who am I? My name is Abigail. I'm a vocal director. I've been vocal directing since 2018. I've vocal directed several live concerts, church conferences, events, church choirs, studio recordings, and so much more. I am also a praise and worship leader. I have done that over the years, several churches all over the UK at different points in life. I'm also a professional background vocalist. I do background vocals for studio projects, for live events. I've done so for several local and international gospel musicians. I am also a vocal producer, vocal arranger. I have produced several albums that are now released on all digital platforms. I have written and personally released over 15 original songs. And I also have helped various singers improve their songs, rearrange their songs and harmonies. And lastly, I am a choir coach and a choir trainer under the brand DirectingVoices, which started in 2024. And so that means that we are coming up to our 1-year anniversary. Okay, so in November 2025, DirectingVoices will be 1 year. Okay, so we also are very privileged to have Mr. David Awushesho on the call today. He's a highly experienced music producer, sound engineer, and music director. He specializes in vocal production, mixing, mastering, and live sound solution for both stage and studio. He continues to work with diverse artists, both in the studio and on stage. That's personally one of the ways that I found out about him. He worked for a major artist and I was really interested in the work. He also mentors emerging producers and vocalists. He's known for blending technical expertise and musical sensitivity to achieve clarity, excellence, and originality in sound. We are so privileged to have him on board today. Please, when he comes on, make him feel very welcome and appreciated. We welcome you, Mr. Dave. Thank you. So please tell me about yourself. Tell me your name and tell me where you're watching from or where you're listening from. I will be checking the comments to see if there are any responses. I can see some, I can see Sister Debbie. I can see my dad on the call as well. So good to have you all today. Please do leave a comment about your name and where you're watching from. I am Abigail, like I said, and I'm speaking to you today from Telford. Okay, so whilst I wait for you, I'll quickly run through what we will cover in today's session. Okay, so we'll talk about who is a vocal director and what kind of scenarios would we need a vocal director? What does a vocal director actually do? What's expected of you as a vocal director and what's not expected of you as a vocal director? What are some of the duties that you should delegate? So what are those duties that you should just let somebody else handle? Who would you be a good candidate for a vocal director role? So we'll run through some of the criteria to look for in yourself that will tell you whether you will be a good vocal director. And then we'll talk about what would happen if there is no vocal director in the choir. I'm sure we've all experienced such scenarios where everybody's just kind of doing everything. So we'll talk about that. What would your team members need from you as their vocal director? What do you do at the start of your vocal director appointment? What are some of the pre-rehearsal activities, the rehearsal activities, and the performance day activities of a vocal director? And what are your deliverables as a vocal director? How do you teach a new song? And how do you teach harmonies? How do you record vocal guides for your team? How do you hold vocalist auditions? What are some of the common mistakes that vocal directors make? You see, it's a packed It's a very packed morning, and so I'm excited that we started quite on time. And then Mr. Dave will come and also then talk about how to help your team write songs together. I'm sure that's something that we will all want to know. What are some of the equipment that you will need to set up your own recording studio at home? As a vocal director, you will need this. How do you run sound check, right? He's going to talk about sound check. He's going to teach us how it's done. What are some of the terminologies that a vocal director should know? Okay, so I hope we are ready to get started. Let me know in the comment section if you are ready to get started. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? Are we looking forward to it? We've got Mr. Omoyele from Birmingham. Thank you so much. Today is Mr. Omoyele's birthday as well. Thank you for giving us your day. We are super duper grateful. Okay, so can we go ahead and get started then? So we've talked about the standard in previous master classes that we've done. We have talked about the structure of a standard choir. Okay, so we talked about that we have a worship pastor who is giving us that spiritual oversight. So we discussed this in choir structure 101. Feel free to go back to those videos. So, and then under the worship pastor, we have the choir director who's managing the team and managing the day-to-day running of the team. And then we have our music director who is taking care of the instrumentalist. And then we have our vocal director, which is why we're here today, who's taking care of the vocalist. So please take time to watch the previous masterclasses that we've done. Okay, we also did a masterclass for background vocalists and lead vocalists. So the vocalists too were covered. So let's get straight into today's topic. Okay. So who is a vocal director? A vocal director basically is the person who is responsible for guiding vocalists and preparing vocalists for the vocal execution of a song or performance. Notice the words that are there. They're responsible for guiding vocalists and preparing them for the vocal execution of a song. So what that tells me is the vocal director is focusing on the song. They're focusing on the performance. They're focusing on how do we get the best? How do we do a good performance of this song, right? So in what sorts of scenarios would we need a vocal director? Live events and concerts. So the vocal director will be there to ensure that the vocal arrangements are tight, vocal arrangements are balanced and in sync with the band. So if you're having a virtual concert, that's why I think we had a lot of that during the pandemic. So live recording events, you would need a vocal director. Choir rehearsals, so your vocal director would be needed to teach songs, to blend the voices, to correct vocal techniques. Church services and conferences, so preparing the praise and worship team for a smooth and impactful delivery. School and college choir. So I remember when I was growing up, when I was in school, we had a woman that would come in to school and teach the choir. She would handle the school choir. So she's a vocal director. Songwriting sessions, so helping the singer to create and arrange vocal parts. Studio recording. So as you may know, some people are fantastic song leaders in a live environment, right? But studio recording is a whole different ball game, as Mr. David will agree. So just because you can sing live and you can lead, a crowd of people, when you come into a studio session, it's a different atmosphere entirely. So a vocal director will be there to tell you what not to include in the studio version of a song, how not to ad lib, how to strip the song back and, record it in a way that it's more appealing to a global listening audience, and how to sing the song in a way that can be enjoyed and understood by the rest of the whole world, not just your church. So they'll help you arrange the song in a more polished way. Okay, recording vocal guides and demos. So in many cases, if you want to produce an album or a track, you will need to record a vocal guide, which the team will then use to rehearse and prepare for your recording. So your vocal director will sometimes be responsible for creating that vocal guide. So producing an accurate reference track for the singers and the band to practice with. Movie production set, so a video shoot as well. So just making sure that the vocals are consistent in such a high pressure setting. That's what a vocal director would do, just making sure that everyone's singing the right thing and lips are moving in the right way and all of that. TV, radio, live broadcast performances, again, just maintaining vocal consistency. Special productions, so like Christmas carols, Easter musicals, stage performances that require detailed vocal coordination, things like talent shows, things like musical competition, and then auditions. So a vocal director would usually be asked to come and select and classify singers based on vocal range, tone, and suitability to the role and things like that. So many scenarios where you would need a vocal director. Basically, any scenario where singers are involved, where vocalists are involved, a vocal director is needed. So as you can see, there's a lot of work, right? So you can have a fulfilling career as a vocal director. There are so many opportunities, so many opportunities. So what does a vocal director actually do, right? A vocal director would come up with a rehearsal plan, right? And a structure for the rehearsal and the performance. So, for example, we're about to rehearse for an event. The vocal director would be the one to say, okay, on this day, this is the day of the rehearsal. These are the songs we're going to do. This is who's going to lead it. This is how we're going to do it. The band, maybe there will be a separate rehearsal, or whatever. They will plan all of that and they will structure the performance day as well. So these are the songs we're doing first. This person is doing this and all of that. All of that planning, that's the job of the vocal director. So they'll when we come together, they'll handle vocal warm-ups, they'll handle cool down, they'll ensure that time is being used efficiently. They will produce unique and creative vocal harmony arrangements. They'll compose new sections to add to a song. So, for example, if it's in a praise and worship setting, the songs can be quite repetitive. So, the job of the vocal director is to create something unique, create a new arrangement, create a new section that will be like an interlude or a bridge. Just to switch things up. So all of that creativity is the job of the vocal director. The vocal director will also know how long the performance is meant to be, and they will rearrange the set list to that time. So that's the job of the vocal director, to make sure that we are sticking to time and the time is going to be sufficient, or the songs are going to be sufficient for the time. A vocal director is also responsible for scoring and teaching the songs and harmonies. So if we are in a rehearsal or at an event and we are ever confused about any section or any line of the song, that's the job of the vocal director. They are our first point of contact if we're ever confused about anything, and they know the song inside and out. They can teach it, they can spot mistakes. Okay. They are responsible for producing vocal guides for the team to aid personal practice. So please note that vocal guides are not always needed. They're not even always the best way to go. So vocal guides is just one out of many techniques to help your vocalist prepare. So what do I mean by vocal guides? Vocal guides is basically a recording of exactly how you want the songs to be sung or how you want the songs to go. So it's you recording, say, okay, start with an intro and then you sing this and then you sing that and then, all of that. So it's a guide, but like I said, sometimes it's not always needed, so it's just one out of many ways to prepare your team. So for example, if it's going to be like a spontaneous moment, or if you're having frequent rehearsals, for example, you may not need to do vocal guides. You can simply just record your rehearsals. So sometimes recording vocal guides can be an overkill, and it doesn't actually work for that particular team, especially if you're working with people, for example, that will not use it. Some people, you will send the vocal guides, they still will not listen to it. They prefer to come and you teach them there and then. So sometimes you need to know which tools to deploy in different scenarios. Providing full lyrics and arrangements. So again, we know what songs we're going to sing and need to have the lyrics. We need to know the arrangements. So that's the job of the vocal director, to produce lyrics and arrangements. They also need to communicate the vision of the performance. So in this performance, I want us to have high energy, or I want us to really be emotional and reflective. You know, that vision for the performance, that's the job of the vocal director, to tell us exactly what you want to see, you know, and communicate that. Classifying and auditioning vocalists. So you can imagine in a choir where there's 15 singers, we would need to split the singers, you know, maybe using a rota. So the vocal director would know the voices best, and would know how best to mix them based on their strengths and based on the songs or what the session requires. So the vocal director is the one that will say, okay, we're doing 4 sets. These 4 sets of people will do the first session, and then this next set of people will do this session, because they know what the strengths of each singer is and how well they will mix. So that's the job of the vocal director, to classify vocalists and put them in the right place. And then again, plan the structure of the performance. How long is it going to be? How are we transitioning? How are we going from, you know, one set to the other? And what's the structure? Coaching the team on stage presence, stage performance, stage persona, scheduling and running sound checks is also part of what the vocal director does. Advocating for vocalist at sound check and resolving issues. So your vocal director is your point of contact if you need anything. You're on stage or you're at rehearsal and you need maybe you have a question, or even you need water. You know, your vocal director is making sure that you are okay, generally having all that you need in order to perform, to do a good job, and essentially giving vocal direction to vocalists. So this can be through hand signals. So so now we're doing unison, or we're doing parts, or we're doing, you know, we're inverting, or, you know, we're keeping quiet at this point, or we're singing loud at this point. So that's the vocal direction. And then of course at the end of it, giving feedback to the vocalist. So and lastly, providing resources for your growth and development. So like we said at the beginning, the vocal director isn't there to train your voice, but they can give you some resources. They can point you in the direction of some videos or some books or things to read. So these are the things that a vocal director does. So what is not expected of you as a vocal director? What's not a requirement, right? So you are not necessarily expected to be able to play a musical instrument. I dare say that sometimes it's even best to, if you don't try to be the vocal director and also play an instrument at the same time, because you tend to be more technical than the team needs you to be. So imagine if you're trying to teach a melody, but because you're playing the keyboard, or because you're an instrumentalist, your mind keeps thinking about the chords and the scales and all of that, and your singers are just looking at you like, we just want to sing the song, you know. So don't be afraid to outsource. You can work together with the musician whilst you focus on the vocals. Okay. Right. You are also not expected to be a magician. So if the people that you are working with are not putting in the rehearsal time. They're not showing up for rehearsal and giving you the time to teach them the techniques, or they're not doing their homework, they're not putting in the effort, or they're not willing to accept correction and guidance from you as the vocal director, or they're not willing to implement the techniques. So if you tell them sing softer and they don't do it, or you say use your hands, raise your hands, and they don't do it, they will sound the same, right? It's not magic, right? So when you give them the tools and the tips and the techniques, they have to be willing to actually do it. So you're not expected to be a magician. They have to also meet you where you are. Okay. And you are also not expected to be a voice trainer or a vocal coach, right? You can teach them vocal techniques to enhance that song's performance, but ultimately you are working with the capabilities in the team and you are adjusting the arrangements accordingly. So if you have a team where everyone says they're an alto and they don't want to do soprano, there's nobody that's willing to challenge themselves. You have to create your arrangement around that. Okay. So you have to work with the capabilities in the team, and you shouldn't focus on trying to train their voices and get them to be better. Otherwise, you kind of lose focus of the work. And also, you are not expected to be the the best singer, sorry, in the team, right? You don't have to have the best voice. You don't have to have the best singing voice in the team to be able to be the vocal director. Um, you just need to have creativity and a vision for the performance and know how to guide people to reach that vision, right? So it's more about your ability to give clear direction and be a leader, right? So you would so let's say we're preparing for a Christmas production, for example. You should have a vision in mind, and then you should be able to know how to teach that, how to communicate that. Okay, so you need to be able to teach what you have in mind, what you're envisioning. However, you must be the most musically inclined person in the team, right? You must be the most creative, but you don't have to have the best singing voice. Okay, so yeah, those are some things that are not expected of you. All right, so what are some of the duties that you must or you should delegate um, as the vocal director? Like we've said, um, providing voice training, you should try to delegate. Your job is not to train, your job is to direct. Okay, so you can help them with some warm-ups before rehearsals or before the performance. You can also make sure that you have the right people in the team by running auditions for the existing and incoming vocalists, and of course make recommendations to the choir leadership of, oh, I think this person needs to be in the choir or not, things like that. So you can also make adjustments, like I said, to the arrangements to suit the capabilities available. Work with the talents that have been made available to you as they are, and bring out the best possible from them. Their personal growth is up to them. With the help of a music school or resources available online, they can do great. They can have that voice training, but ideally, you are not responsible for training voices. Choosing rehearsal dates and times and venues and access logistics, please just delegate this to your choir director. You should be spending your time and your effort being creative and figuring out how to work with the team rather than trying to arrange logistics. Communicating rehearsal dates and times to musicians, I like to just have somebody else just handle that. You've got your music director, they should handle it. They should communicate to the instrumentalists where they need to be, what time they need to be there. So you can ask your MD or your choir director or choir administrator to help with that. Setting up sound equipment, mics, speakers, and so on. Again, ask your choir director or the sound team to help with that. Addressing non-compliance, non-attendance, that should be left to your choir director or the pastoral team. So if somebody isn't wearing the right uniform, or if somebody isn't showing up on time, or if somebody is not showing up to rehearsal, try not to be the one that's telling people off. Try to just get somebody else to do that for you. Uniforms and outfits, again, assign a wardrobe coordinator to handle what we're wearing. Sending lyrics to the visuals team for projection. You will create your lyrics and the arrangement and all of that, but ideally get somebody else to make sure that the media team have it and it's all in where it needs to be. So you can definitely outsource that. I'm seeing some amazing comments. Thank you so much. People are watching from London. People are watching from Birmingham. So good to have you, everyone. Thank you. Okay, so let's carry on. So what is expected of you as the vocal director? Okay, you need to get to know the strengths and the weaknesses and the abilities and musical goals of the vocalist in the team, right? You can't direct what you don't know. So you need to know, oh, this person is good at this. This person has said they don't like to do this. Or, does this person actually want to lead? Some people are actually okay just being in the background. So you need to get to know them. What do they want to know? What do they want to do? What do they like? What are they trying to become? Some people are, I think a lot of singers have personal goals. They have, oh, I'm trying to work on this, or I'm trying to work on harmonies, or I'm trying to work on, my ear training. So as the vocal director, you need to get to know the people, right? So that you can direct them better. And then you need to tell us what we are aiming to achieve. So in this performance, we're going to be doing 3 songs, and it's going to start off quite soft, and then we're going to build it up, and then we're going to maybe move around the stage. What's the vision? You need to tell us what you're aiming to achieve here. Okay. You need to learn the songs thoroughly and learn all the harmony lines thoroughly. So soprano is singing this, alto is singing this, tenor is singing this. You need to know it all. Okay. It's expected of you to run vocal rehearsals. So rehearsals are yours. So you need to run it. So teach us how we are to sing the songs. How exactly do you want us to sing the song? So you can use a vocal guide to do that, or you can sing it in person, providing clear guidance of the arrangements and of our parts. You need to teach us our harmonies. So if people are singing the wrong thing, you need to correct the parts. You need to guide them when there's mistakes. You need to explain the harmony structure. So this soprano is this, alto is this, tenor is this, and all of that. You need to help your BVs deliver the best performance. You need to guide them. If you don't tell them what you want, they will do what they think is best, and then you can't blame them. So you need to help them deliver the best performance. So things like warm-ups, things like sound checks, providing rehearsal guides, providing the lyrics, teaching them vocal techniques, teaching them performance techniques, teaching them stage presence, hand signals, adjusting the arrangements and the set list based on people's availability. So if, for example, you have a team of 10 people and maybe 2 people have not showed up, for example, you need to adjust the arrangements, adjust the set list. Okay, this person hasn't showed up, so this person is going to go first and all of that. So this is you helping them. You also need to be helping your lead vocalist deliver a good performance. So you need to be advising and coaching your lead vocalist as well. Oh, can you do more of this on that part? Or I want you to sing it like this, all of those techniques. So helping them choose the right key, helping them with their ad libs, these are all things that your lead vocalist would need from you. We'll come on to to what your team needs from you. Coming up with creative arrangements, that's of course doable for the team. There's no point pushing them beyond what they can actually do. So come up with creative vocal arrangements, suggest some transition ideas to the musicians if you can, if there's opportunity. So just making sure that things are innovative and it's fresh and it's entertaining, not just doing things the same way, arranging the voices into the best that they can be, making the most of what's available. It's also expected of you to give feedback to the singers, praise them throughout the rehearsal. If they've sung something right, you say, good, that's good, that sounds good. Yeah, I like that, things like that. And then you also need to draft the rota, allocating duties. So this person is singing soprano, this person is singing alto, this person is singing tenor, blah, blah, blah. Just drafting up a rota. When are we singing what? Who is leading? Who is BVing? What parts are they singing? All of that. Okay, I can see some questions in the comments. Somebody has asked about online rehearsals. I will come to that. Thank you for that question. So, am I a good candidate for a vocal director? Would I be a good vocal director? Okay, let's see. Do you know how to find, teach, and arrange harmonies? Are you very good at harmonies? Okay, these are some of the signs you need to look out for in yourself if you want to appoint a vocal director. Do you know how to find your harmonies? Do you know how to teach your harmonies? Do you know how to arrange your harmonies? Do you learn new songs very quickly, very easily, and thoroughly? Okay. Are you good at learning? I know somebody in particular that's very quick at learning new songs. So very good trait. Can you easily identify the various harmony lines of a song? So you're hearing a song and you're like, okay, I can hear soprano, I can hear tenor. And it's very easy for you, very quick. Do you find it easy to come up with creative ideas of how to execute a song in a unique way? So you have those songwriting skills, you're able to change the melody and you're able to come up with creative ideas of how to execute a song, not just singing it the same way. Do you enjoy teaching? Do you enjoy helping others improve their performance? Do you have a good ear? Can you catch minor issues in pitch, in timing, dynamics, in blending? Is your ear quite sensitive to things like that? Are you passionate about rehearsal time and making the most of rehearsal time? I love rehearsal time. I love rehearsals. So if you're very passionate about rehearsals, you're very passionate about doing the work and making the most of rehearsals. Are you passionate about choirs? Do you love choirs? Do you love choir sounds? Do you have time to devote to do the duties of a vocal director? As you can already tell, the work of a vocal director is a lot. So you need to have time. If you're always busy with other things, it might you can still do it, but you might struggle with some of the responsibilities. Are you good at time management? Are you confident in facilitating and leading rehearsals? So a vocal director is good at managing time. Oh, okay, we've got 2-hour rehearsals and we've got 5 songs to do. How long are we going to spend on each song? How are we? As a vocal director, you can't just let things linger. People are going on and on about one song and you're just allowing that to happen. No, you need to be able to facilitate the conversation and say, okay, we're going to come back to that. Let's move on. Okay, the instrumentalists are not ready. Okay, let's move to that song and let's come back to this. And all of that facilitating. Are you proactive? Can you think ahead of what people will need towards the performance, right? So, for example, as a vocal director, you would know that if you're leading a session or if you're about to do a performance, your keyboardist will need to know what key they need to start on, and then if it transitions into another key. So you're proactive in writing it out for them on a sticky note, sticking it on their instrument, right? Or you know that, okay, the media team need to know that this person's mic needs to be turned up at a certain point. So you're going to go and tell them that. So you're proactive. You're thinking about what a performance will need, what a rehearsal will need. You're not just letting things happen to you. Okay. So what would happen when there is no vocal director on the team, right? Have you ever arrived at a place? This happened to me recently, actually. I arrived at an event and I entered into the building and there was no receptionist. There was no usher to tell me where to go and to tell me what to do. So I was just standing there like, okay, where are we going? Right? That's what it's like when, as a vocalist, I join your choir and there's nobody to tell me what's required of me or what it is that we're doing. There's nobody to say, okay, everyone, thank you for coming. We're preparing for our Christmas concert and we're going to do 2 songs and this person is leading it and we're going to start with this. There's nobody to tell me that. We're just all, just looking at each other. So that's exactly how we would feel when there's no vocal director. Everybody will be frustrated. We don't know what to sing. We don't know what we're doing. And I've heard a lot of professional singers say this. They join a choir and they eventually get frustrated because there's nobody there to guide and to put the team together. Okay. I dare say that it's impossible to run a choir without a vocal director directing the vocalist. It's so important, right? Of course, I'm not referring to choirs that don't involve singing. So like orchestras, for example. But if you have vocalists, you absolutely, absolutely need a vocal director. This vocal director role, it has many names, right? So for example, you will hear them being called the MD, the music director, the voice coach, the choir leader, and so on. But ultimately, the responsibilities of a vocal director are so important because we need to know what we're singing. We need to know the vision. We need to know what are we trying to achieve. What do you need from me as a soprano singer or an alto singer? How do you want me to sound? When do you want me to come in? How do you want me to come in? Right? So if you don't have a vocal director, everybody will just speak up. Everybody will just speak up. And it's usually creative. I've been to a few of such rehearsals and they don't have a vocal director and it's usually chaotic. Everybody's speaking out at the same time. Everybody has an opinion on what we should do and how we should do it. Nobody's taking charge. Nobody has the final say. We deliberate and negotiate on everything, right? And it's just wasting valuable time. And quite frankly, it's causing headache. I don't know about you, but it just causes headache when the lead singer sings a song and they're like, no, I don't think we should do that. Yeah, I think it's okay. it's it's chaotic and it just causes headache, right? So because everybody feels the need to have an input or help to fix the issues that are arising, right? So if you've ever seen people singing on stage and maybe some people are squeezing their faces at what the next person is singing in confusion, right? I'm sure you've seen that kind of scenario before where somebody's singing and the other person is like, you know, it's very likely that there was no vocal director on that team because a good vocal director would have picked up on that issue and they would have fixed it, right? Promptly. So singers' confidence may be affected if there's no vocal director because there's nobody to advocate for them with the instrumentalists, with the sound team. Most singers don't know how to speak the language of instrumentalists and the sound team, right? So if you're serious about achieving great results in your choir or in your music team, you need to have at least one person that can communicate with the musicians and the sound team on behalf of the singers. It's so important. We're going to teach you some of those terminologies today, but that's the job of the vocal director, to know what the team needs and to get it done. Okay. There will be nobody to pay close attention to the details in the vocals, right? And a lot will go unfixed. when you don't have a vocal director, a lot of things will get brushed under the carpet because there's nobody sitting outside of the vocalists and the musicians listening for areas to improve, right? There's nobody that's trained enough to be able to pick out on things that aren't right, right? So a lot of things will just be brushed under the carpet, and ultimately it will just be another average performance. So you need to have somebody that's not singing with the team. Maybe eventually they'll sing, but at least sit outside of the rehearsal, sit outside of the sound check, and just listen for those details. Okay. Of course, in most music teams, whoever is leading the session has to also teach the song and teach the parts, or the keyboardist is the one playing the instrument and teaching the songs, teaching the parts, and that's just taken away from their own personal time. If we have any instrumentalists on the team, you will agree with me that rehearsal time is actually for you guys to also come and rehearse your instruments, right? So if you're having to do multiple roles, it's taken away from your own rehearsal time. And that's why you see a lot of lead vocalists making mistakes in their performance or forgetting things because they didn't get quality rehearsal time to rehearse their own ad libs and repeat their own lead vocals over and over again until it sticks. So it's important that we have a vocal director who can just handle the background vocalists, handle the singers, so that the lead vocalist can focus, the instrumentalist can focus, everybody can just have their time. Okay. And then time is wasted. So everything takes time to be decided upon. If there's no vocal director, um, your team will, although they'll sound good, and a lot of choirs, yeah, they sound okay, but you'll find that they're repeating the same arrangements every week. And with time, people will get bored, right? If it's the same songs and we're singing it the same way, it's gonna get boring. So the biggest job of the vocal director is to rearrange, is to create, is to compose, is to come up with new things, new techniques, new arrangements, changing up how we execute the song, right? So don't make the mistake of thinking your vocalists are professional and they know what they're doing, and so because of that, they don't need a vocal director. You end up singing the songs the same way over and over again, and it gets boring for your team and for the audience, right? The best choirs always bring something unique to the performance. And who is responsible for bringing those ideas? It's you, the vocal director. So that's your job. Now, yeah, you are absolutely needed as a vocal director, as you can tell already. Now, as much as we need vocal direction, it can actually have the opposite effect when there are multiple vocal directors, right, on the team. So think about that. Or you have a vocal director that isn't suited to the role or isn't trained, right? I've seen many choirs where several people are doing the job of a vocal director, and then it becomes chaotic because everybody has an opinion. Everybody wants to correct something. It's this I attended an event recently, and they were doing sound check. I was watching their sound check, and then I saw one person that looked like the vocal director because she was listening, she was trying to pick things out. But then somebody else was also on the team trying to say something, and they were just clashing. And I was like, just have one person, because if you have multiple people or you have one that isn't good, it's not effective. And that usually happens when the one person that they've appointed isn't doing a great job, or there isn't one person assigned at all, and so they end up having to help, right? So is that training is very important. There's nothing wrong with everyone in the team being a vocal director or having that the skills to be a vocal director and being a vocal director in their own right. But we need to have one vocal director appointed at any one time, and everyone needs to be made aware that this is the person vocal directing, and we must respect such person and give them the space to make decisions and to take charge. Okay, I hope that helps. I'm seeing questions in the comments. I'll definitely come back to them. Thank you so much. So let me just share a quick story. So recently I was asked to come and join an existing music team to sing at an event. So they already had a choir, so they just wanted me to come and join and just add my voice to the band. So I was coming just as a singer, not vocal director or anything. So when I got there, the choir director said something along the lines of, "Oh, Directing Voices is here. Please come and direct our voices." So that's the inspiration for this open letter, right? So here's an open letter, and I hope it meets you well. Dear choir directors and band leaders, the day of the rehearsal or the day of the performance is not the best time to appoint a vocal director. We completely understand how busy you are and the many responsibilities you carry, but planning ahead is one of the greatest gifts you can give to your team. A vocal director needs time to prepare, whether it's creating a rehearsal plan, structuring the session, or developing vocal arrangements that fit the abilities within your team. By giving your vocal director advance notice, you allow them to come fully prepared and equipped and ready to serve, which ultimately helps your team achieve the best possible outcome. Thank you for considering this. It will make all the difference to your singers, musicians, and the overall excellence of your team. Warm regards on behalf of your music team. I hope I'm speaking your minds, choristers and singers. That is very important to have a vocal director ahead of the session rather than just a last minute decision. Now, going back to my story, the person then responded and said, "Oh, don't worry, it's just help with just to help with the parts. Everyone knows the songs already. It's just teach us our parts." Um, so here is another open letter. Dear choir directors and band leaders, please don't reduce the role of a vocal director to just teaching parts. If you do, you're limiting the impacts that they could have on your team. A vocal director brings so much more: structure, creativity, musical excellence, and strategies to bring out the very best in your singers. Most vocal directors will meet you where you are and will work within the space you allow them. But if you give them room to fully step into their role, they will take your team further than you imagined. So give your vocal director the notice and the space and the respect and the authority that they need to truly serve your team. When you do, you will see the difference, not just in sound, but in confidence, unity, and overall excellence. Warm regards on behalf of your vocal director. Okay, so of course, one of the jobs of a vocal director is to teach parts, but that's not all we do, right? Amazing. Watching from Lagos. Thank you for being here. Okay, so as a song leader, let's say I've been asked to lead a solo, right? So what do I need from the vocal director? I don't know about you, but um, if I've been asked to lead a session or a song, I want to know how long my set is. So how long is my session? How long do you want me to sing for? What songs do you want me to sing? When am I coming in? What day am I singing? Who am I singing with? Who are my BVs? Is there a certain way you want me to sing the songs? And so on. And also think about it when you've invited a guest minister or a guest singer to come and sing with your team. The person needs someone to coordinate the BVs for them, teach them the songs, teach the BVs how to support the guest artists. Tell them what's required. Be the main point of contact when it comes to vocalists, making sure that they are warmed up and ready to work. So if I'm leading a session, personally, I don't want to be the one coordinating the BVs, coordinating the sound team, coordinating the instrumentalists, and so on. I've been in situations many times where I'm the vocal director, but I'm also the one leading the sessions. And those are two different hats to wear. And it can be very stressful, can become very stressful. And sometimes some things will definitely be left undone, you know. So, for example, I can't be the one leading the song and also be the one responsible for how the BVs will move or how the BVs will attack their section. When I come to rehearsal, I want someone to handle all of that so that I can also focus on my own rehearsal, practicing my intros, practicing my ad libs, familiarizing with the arrangements for myself. So as a song leader, I need you to help me write out the lyrics. I need you to help me write out the arrangements for the BVs so they know when to come in for my set, right? I also need the vocal director to be a bridge between me and the instrumentalist, telling them what I need in their language. I also need the vocal director to be a bridge between me and the sound engineer, telling them what I would need in their language. I would need my vocal director to help coordinate the BVs, making sure that they're singing the right parts and supporting me adequately, making sure that the right people are holding the microphones so that all the parts are sufficiently projected. Again, advocating with the medial team and the visuals team, coaching me, giving me tips and feedback on how I'm executing my solo. And identifying and helping me as a song leader to harness my area of strength. So if I'm doing something well, I want my vocal director to tell me, yeah, that's good. I like how you did that. Do more of that. That sounds good. So helping me to identify my areas of strength and what I need to do better. So I also, like I said, um, I need my vocal director to help me as the lead singer. Tell me if I'm singing well. If I'm not, tell me how to perform better. Tell me how to execute the song. All the tips and tricks that I need to be able to sing better. I need the vocal director to listen to my voice and give me all of those tips. Okay. So welcome to your role, right? Congratulations. You have been asked to be the vocal director in whatever scenario. So they've given you the platform, they've given you that job, right? As the vocal director, they have appointed you because they feel that you are the most creative person in the team and you have demonstrated ability to be committed and efficient. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to clarify the scope of your role, like we just said. So speak to the choir director or whoever's brought you on and clarify how much authority do I have, right? How far do you want me to go, right? How much autonomy do I have? What do they need from you? Is there another leader? Is there another vocal director? Or is there a choir director that you need to submit to, or are you the leader of the entire team? So if you're the leader, like we said, you need to delegate so that you're not doing everything. If you're not the only leader, so if there are other leaders that you're working with, be clear on your scope, on the scope of your duties. Be clear on what is required of you. All right. So clarify your role. Like we said, are you just teaching parts or are you taking charge of the entire vocal delivery? So find out the current structure of the team. Who is who? Was there another vocal director previously? Ensure that this person is aware that you are now the vocal director and we don't want more than one vocal director. Of course, be polite, please. Don't be rude. But I've seen so many scenarios where they've brought in a new vocal director, but the previous vocal director is still struggling to relinquish some of their duties and still trying to handle certain things that they haven't been asked to handle. So these are the things that can cause issues. So make sure that you are clear on what you intend to handle and what you want to delegate. So if you are the vocal director, try not to allow everybody to talk and have input over everything until you've allowed the opportunity for suggestions. I've seen, so for example, in a choir where you are the vocal director, if the choir director or the music director or the worship pastor wants to correct something that the vocalists are doing wrong, ideally, the ideal step would be to communicate such comments through you. You would then communicate that to the vocalist. That way, it creates order and it shows respect. So imagine if you are the vocal director and you're trying to tell your singers, okay, guys, let's do more of this. And then somebody else comes and says, singers, can you do it? Now we're like, who do we listen to? Who's the leader? It's going to be confusing, right? So let's just be orderly. Whoever wants to speak to the vocalist, they can come through you. And even you as the vocal director, where possible and as much as possible, speak to the instrumentalist through their music director. It just shows respect. It just shows that, we're not confused and we know what everyone's meant to be doing. So, of course, you can hear people out, but as the vocal director, your decision is final. So, if possible, try not to have space for opinions and side coaching and all of the things that cause disturbances. So, classify the voices. Like we said earlier, you can't arrange what you don't know. So you need to get to know the voice types present in your team. So you can do a mini audition to check people's ability to harmonize. Or you can ask the choir director that, oh, who's a soprano? Who's this? Who can do this? Who's struggling with harmonies? So what are the abilities within the team? How far can you go with the team? Sometimes some teams can't handle complex arrangements. They will forget. So try not to do what you think is going to be amazing. You have to really understand the abilities. You need to know, are they working? Are they busy people? Are they mothers? Are they, like, people are busy. So you need to work with the abilities within the team. How far can you go? How complex can your arrangements be? These are some of the things you need to find out. Can they modulate? Can they invert? Can they harmonize? Are they experienced singers? Who's a soprano? Who's an alto? Who's a tenor? Who is a bass singer? You can do a range test. So these are two apps that you can download. So Simply Sing is an app where you can sing verbally, and then it will tell you can do a range of tests, and it will tell you if you're a soprano, if you're an alto, if you're a tenor. And then Perfect Piano is also a piano app. You can press several notes on the piano, and it will you can see your range. How low can you go? How high can you go? And see what keys you're comfortable on. So you can test their range. So who are the strong background vocalists? Who are the strong lead singers? Everybody isn't necessarily good at doing both. So you need to be able to identify who wants to lead and who doesn't want to lead. Who struggles with harmonies, whose voice is soft, who are the shy singers, and then ask about the musicians too. How experienced are the instrumentalists? How skillful are they? What can they handle? So if you want to do harmony auditions, if you want to check people's ability to harmonize, I'll give you 5 songs that you can use. So if you want to write this down, feel free. So, Great Are You, Lord by Sinatra. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. Great are you, Lord. So that's one song that can quickly help you identify when somebody can harmonize or not. And then another song is Yahweh, Rapha, Elohim, Shaddai, Jireh, Adonai will manifest himself. That's another song that is a bit technical. And then, worthy is your name, Jesus. You deserve the praise. Worthy is your name. And then, be magnified, O Lord. You are highly exalted, and there is nothing you can't do. O Lord, my eyes are on you. Be magnified, O Lord, be magnified. So these are songs. Oh, there's one more. Demons tremble at your presence. What a mighty God we serve. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Everything written about you is great. You are 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 great. Everything written about you is great. So those are 5 songs that will quickly tell you whether somebody is an experienced vocalist and is good at harmonies. I hope that helps. So before rehearsals, right? So the team is yours. As the vocal director, the team is yours. The singers are in your hands. So in many cases, the leadership team they will trust your judgment and they will let you decide on a lot of things on what happens. So create a time blocked rehearsal schedule, right? So like I said, the rehearsal is yours, so use it to get the best out of the team, right? General recommendation for effectiveness is 45 minutes to an hour per song, if that helps. So if you've got 5 songs to do, for example, you kind of know how long your rehearsal needs to be. That's if you want to be effective. You can do a song in 15 minutes. So it's up to you. But if you really want to do creative techniques, if you really want to work on harmonies, to pick up on pitch and blending and all of these things, then general recommendation 45 minutes to an hour for a song to really make sure that it's beautiful. Prepare to teach the songs from scratch. Okay, so when you're coming to your rehearsal, just be mentally prepared to teach songs. Yes, you can tell them to listen and all of that, but just sometimes you may not need to, sometimes you may need to, hopefully not. But factor this into your schedule. Plan for multiple repetitions of set list to ensure that it sticks, right? The amazing performances that you see online is because they know it like the back of their hand, right? So don't just plan to run through a song once. Try to run through it several times over and over again, because your musicians, it needs to stick for them. Your singers, it needs to stick for them, right? So identify which sections you need to spend more time on. So these are things that you're thinking about at home. This is the pre-planning that we talked about. So that's why we said it's not on the day that we appoint a vocal director. You need to think, okay, which songs am I gonna sing first? Which one is the hardest one? Which one do I need to spend more time on? Which section of the song is harder? And then you need to send your rehearsal schedule to the team before the day. And then, of course, based on people's availability and all of that, and the available time slots and other things that are happening, decide on which songs are we singing first, which songs are we singing after that, which key, what tempo are we using. Ask the lead vocalist to choose their key. Who is leading that song? Who is leading that session? How long is that session? Who are the BVs? What part are they singing? So this is an example of a lineup of a set list, right? And this is something that as a vocal director, you can provide this to your media team or to your sound team. So this is just an example. Name of the church, Sunday, the date, right? So these are the 4 songs that we're singing, right? You've got the key there. You've got the name of the person that's leading, right, beside it. and then you've got mic allocations. Can you see how organized this is? If I was in this choir, I don't need to ask any questions. I don't need to be confused. I know that if my name is Sharif, I've got mic, Vox means mic, by the way. So I've got mic number 2, and I'm leading. So if I'm Bella, I've got mic number 6 and I'm doing alto. And I know what key is on. You know, everything's organized. We know the songs that we're doing for offering. Trinity is leading it, and it's in the key of E flat, and the song is I Will Bless the Lord. Everything is ready, printed out for us, or it's on the platform. We know what we're doing. There's no confusion, right? So get creative again before your rehearsal. Score all the songs thoroughly. Look for ways to recreate and rearrange and switch things up. Always make sure that as a vocal director, you're bringing something new, because the people that are singing, the people that are in your choir, yes, they're there to just sing, but they want to learn as well, right? They want to learn, and it's in the creativity. That's how they get better. So make sure that you are coming up with something that will challenge them, that will push them to be better, and then double check that your creative arrangements work and they make sense. So if you need to record it, if you need to, you know, test it with somebody, just make sure that this thing is going to work. So you don't want to get to your rehearsal and then then you're finding out that, oh, actually, I thought we could do this section, but it's not working. No, you've wasted time. So check that your creativity and all the things that you plan to do is actually going to work. Write out your lyrics, clearly stating the arrangement. So this part is a solo, and then choir comes in unison, or they come in parts, and then there's an interlude, or there's a key change, or, you know, whatever. You need to clearly state the arrangement so that when we come together, you're not having to talk to us like, guys, unison, parts. We can just look at our phones or whatever it is you've printed, and we can see, okay, yeah, solo is singing now, and then we're singing this twice, and then parts twice, you know, whatever. So record your vocal guides, demonstrating the vocal techniques. So be exactly how you want them to sing it, exactly how you want them to sound. You need to record that in your vocal guide. It's very important. And then before rehearsals, you need to decide, okay, what songs are we using to warm up? What songs are we using to cool down? You don't want to get to your rehearsal and be asking, what song should we sing? What song should we sing? No, you should know the song that we're going to be singing for warm-ups and cool down. So now we want to talk about vocal guides. So I've been talking about vocal guides and how do we actually record a vocal guide. So it's very easy. You can do this from your phone. So like I said, you would need a laptop to do this. You want to record your vocal guides. So you need one laptop, not an iPad, not anything else. It needs to be a laptop. And then you need your phone, right? So on your laptop, open your browser, open a tab and type in. So if, for example, you're going to be singing on the key of C, you type in pad on C, right? And then you can pick any of these. So let's just pick the first one. And then on the second tab, you want to choose your beat. So if you're doing a worship session, for example, you will type in worship loop. Okay, it could be any beats. It could be makossa, funk, calypso, whatever. Any beats that it is you're doing. So what you want to do is play both tabs at the same time, right? So okay. All right, so you've got your your key, you're singing on the key of C, and then you've got your loop playing at the same time, and then you're just going to sing. This is my recording. I'm about to record my vocal guide, right? So you start your recording, and then you say, this session is for worship on Sunday. Intro. You leave some time for the intro to play. So just leave some seconds, however long you want your intro to be. And then you start. Hallelujah. Praise the one who sets me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Everybody, unison. Hallelujah. Praise the one who sets me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Parts. Hallelujah. So you get the point. It's the point is that you're singing the songs exactly how you want the singers to sing it. So you're not doing any ad-libs, you're not doing any riffs and runs. You're singing the song exactly what you want them to sing, right? And you are going to record. So your phone that's in your hand will pick up your voice, and it will also pick up the everything in the background. So you're playing your key, you're playing your loop in the background, and all of that is coming into the phone. So you're not using earphones or anything. It's all coming out of the speaker, but then your phone that you're recording with will pick up everything that you are singing. And so the instrumentalists, they will be able to hear the beat. So they'll be able to hear the worship loop that you played, and they'll be able to hear the key, and they'll hear your voice. So you can also use that as your rehearsal, as your guide, and the BVs can also use that as their guide to rehearse as well. So it's very important that this is exact. So if there's an intro, if it's unison, if it's parts, try to say that. If you can't, then you can, like we said, write out the arrangement, clearly stating that this is in unison, this is in parts, and all of that. So this is very, very important. It's the professional way of doing things. Let's avoid coming to rehearsal and then explaining that, oh, this is what we're doing, and all of those things. We've talked about how to record vocal guides from your phone. It's really easy, but make sure that we can hear your voice. Your voice needs to be the loudest, and then we need to hear the beat so that the instrumentalist can know exactly, how fast or how slow they need to go, and all of that. And you need to sing on key as much as possible. Okay, so that's your vocal guides. You're going to record the entire set list. If it's a 15-minute session, if it's a 30 minutes or a 45-minute, however long the session is, you need to record it. We need it. If it's a 30-minute session, we need a 30 minutes recording. If it's a 10-minute session, we need a 10 minutes recording from you so that we know exactly how we need to sing it. Of course, this doesn't take away from spontaneity. So you can, of course, when we're on stage, you can let the atmosphere, however it goes, but at least prepare to stick to time, prepare to cover the time. So okay, so talking about rehearsals then, So when it comes to rehearsals, we've arrived at rehearsal now. You need to start on time. So even if people haven't arrived, please, please, please start on time. Don't wait for people. Thank everybody for being there, and get everybody to sit in their parts. So sopranos sitting together, altos sitting together, tenors sitting together. Set some ground rules. So for example, your phone's on silent. Yeah, it's one of the ground rules. If you don't understand anything, raise your hand. Ask for help as soon as you need the help. Don't suffer in silence, because those are the things that can waste time in rehearsal. So set those ground rules. If you need to leave early, inform the vocal director at the beginning of the meeting. So don't inform me at like 5 minutes to when you need to go, because if you let me know at the beginning, I can structure the rehearsal to accommodate that. I can structure the rehearsal to make sure that we cover what we need from you before we cover what we need from you whilst you're there, if that makes sense. So if I know that you're going to be leaving at a certain point, I can do I can do whatever involves you, right? So those are some of the ground rules. And then you want to do warm-ups as well. So start with warm-ups and stretches. You can encourage the singers to arrive vocally warmed up. So encourage them to do warm-ups from their house. If time is limited, tell them to do some warm-ups. So you can send them a video for them to do. But as much as possible, try to do something short together as a group. So even if it's just a hum or a yawn or modulating on a song, just something very small. But encourage them to um, to come warmed up. If possible, everyone should have their lyrics. Everyone should have their lyrics rather than sharing of phones. So because when you're sharing, your posture is affected because you're leaning over. So everyone should be in good posture, standing with their own phones and with their own lyrics. And if you can, opt to have a separate vocal rehearsal before the singers will then join the full band where possible, so that way you can actually hear the voices away from all the noise, and you won't be skipping through things. So you need to have that attention to detail, right? You can start without the microphones, start the session, start the rehearsal without the microphones, and then you can use the mics. If you don't have vocal guides to help you with the key, to help you stay on key, then you can use pads on YouTube to help you stay on key. So like we said, like I just showed you, you can just go on YouTube, type in pad on key of B flat, and then you can just play that in the background to help you whilst you're away from the instrumentalist, to make sure that you're staying on key. Okay. Run through the document, so to be sure that everyone understands and can follow the document. Answer any questions about the arrangement. Ensure that everyone knows what everything means. So where they see unison or parts or whatever, ensure that they know what it means so that rehearsal is not interrupted. And then allow the lead vocalist to choose their key before we start learning. So by rehearsal day, we should already know what key each song is on. But if not, first of all, get the lead vocalist to choose their key with the instrumentalist before we start to learn songs, okay? Because you don't want to teach harmonies and teach all the things in a certain key, and then the lead vocalist say, actually, we need to take it up, and then you have to rearrange everything. So the first thing to do is let's know what key we're singing on before we start to learn anything. And then start with the BVs, right? Start with teaching the sections that concern the BVs. Teach all the BV part first. There's no point having the soloist sing the entire verse and then the BVs don't come in correctly, right? So let's say, for example, you're singing, here I am to worship, here I am to bow down. And then you say, okay, let's start rehearsal. Lead vocalist, sing the verse. Light of the world, you step down into darkness. Open my eyes, let me see. Beauty that made this heart adore you. Hope of a life spent with you. And then the BVs are like, oh, what are we singing? You've just wasted the lead vocalist time. So start with the part that concerns the singers first. Let them know their part. And then at the end, we can now run through the song, with the lead singer coming in as well. So start with singing in unison, and then split into parts. When they know what they're doing, then you run through the entire song with the lead vocalist. So you need to also educate them on what you're looking for from them in terms of techniques, and dynamics. So are you looking for what kind of tone, what kind of texture are you looking for? How do you want them to attack and release? What kind of blend, what kind of balance are you looking for? Pitch accuracy, timing, vocal dynamics. Are we moving? How are we standing? Stage presence, gestures, expressions, phrasing, mic techniques, hand signals. So you need to be explicit as to what you're looking for. Oh, guys, on this part, I want us to come in like this, and then the drum is going to do this, and then guys, we're gonna do the, all of those exactly how you want it to be. You need to be very detailed. You need to be very detailed, right? One of the biggest reasons why choirs mess up is because they didn't rehearse things, right? Or they didn't pay close attention to details of the song. They just kind of, let's just sing the song, let's run through it. And they're not, taking time on certain parts. And then, people will interpret that part in their own way, and then it ends up clashing. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down. If that's my way of singing it, somebody else might sing, here I am to worship, here I am to bow down. Some people are dragging it, some people are ending early, and if you don't specify, you can't blame them. So you need to have decision points, right? So if you notice that people are interpreting something differently, you need to stop the rehearsal and agree as a group how you want us to sing that part or that line. Okay, so again, diction, articulation, voice control, right? So I would say that the biggest secret when it comes to putting a team together is just to work within the abilities of the team, right? Where people flop or where people have issues is where they don't know their limitations, right? You're trying to push the team beyond their limits. There's no point trying to force harmonies on people. You need to work with the abilities within the team. See what they're comfortable with, and if it works, stick to that. Right? As singers, it's good to aspire, but we need to be realistic, right? Unless you're in a training session, then you can push them, right? But it's best to just work with the abilities of the team. So let me explain some of these words. So when we talk about control, voice control, we're talking about, are they running out of breath too quickly? So tone is about the color of the voice, right? So you can have a tone that's breathy, a tone that's bright or warm or dark or nasal, right? So for example, I can do, yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. Or I could do, yes, Jesus loves me. Or I can do, yes, Jesus loves me. So those are all different tones, right? So you need to choose, how do we want it to sound, right? Texture is when we all come together. What's the combination? What does the total sound of the choir sound like? So tone is the color of one person's voice. Texture is the coming together of several voices combined to create the total sound. So for example, a unison choir where everyone is singing the same melody that may produce a soft texture, whilst the choir, where there's soprano, alto, tenor, singing harmonies, may produce a rich and thick texture. So tone is the color of one voice, texture is the layers of voices together. In terms of attack and release, is how we start, is how that's the attack, and how we end is how we release a note or a phrase, right? Blend and balance is all voices must sound the same, right? We need to sound like it's one voice. We shouldn't be able to pick out this person's voice, right? So matching each other's vocal weight, matching each other's basically trying to mimic each other. So not just singing on the same key or the same page, but actually you try to mimic the other person. So if somebody's voice is very husky, for example, everybody else needs to be trying to sound like them, and that's how we achieve that blend and balance. Pitch accuracy is singing on key, right? Making sure that we're not pitchy. Timing is for each word, when are we coming in? Singing on beat, right? How are we pacing ourselves? Are we staying on? Are we staying in rhythm with the track? Vocal dynamics is all about crescendo, vibrato. You know, what are some of the things that you want to do? You can do, yes, Jesus loves me. Or you can do, yes, Jesus loves me. You know, those are different things that you can, as a vocal director, introduce just to make it a bit different, you know, so that we're not singing the same song the same way every time. Right. So, and then, you know, I don't have time to go through all of them, but you know, gestures, expressions, phrasing, you know, like there's a song, something about the name Jesus. Yeah, so the phrasing, how are we saying the Jesus? Or is it Jesus? Or is it Jesus? You know, all of those details, you know, you need to really pay attention to them. So how do we teach a new song, right? Firstly, provide the lyrics. I've seen many vocal directors struggle with teaching songs, and sometimes you can cause more confusion. So provide the lyrics, read out the lyrics. We need to know what we're about to sing, right? So it gets us excited when we know what's coming. When you know we hear the lyrics, gives us a full picture of what we are looking to achieve, right? And then you sing the song throughout, or you play the song, right, just once. I've seen a lot of vocal directors, they come to rehearsal and they start playing the song, they're recording, maybe on YouTube, and they start playing that over and over again, right? That's there's no need to play it all over and over again. At this point during rehearsal, they're most likely just going to enjoy the groove rather than hearing any details at this point. So they should have listened from home. Now is the time to work on the song. So just sing the song, play the song once, read out the lyrics, and just start to teach it. Right. If you're going to require any sort of dynamics, crescendo, or if you want them to drag it a certain way, then you need to teach it like that from the beginning. It's harder to get people to change after they've been used to singing the song in a certain way. So the way that you learn, the way that they learn the song matters, right? So if there's a certain way that words are to be pronounced, then you need to teach them that way from the start. Okay. How do you teach harmonies? Identify the melody. So great, great is your mercy towards me. That's the melody, right? Ensure that everyone knows the melody of the song. Decide who you want to give the melody to. So is the melody going to be held by soprano or altos or tenors? And then ensure at every point that the soprano singers have the highest harmony of the song. So on no occasion should your tenor singers be singing the higher octave of their notes because it's too low, right? So instead you need to give that higher octave to the soprano singers. So for example, if the song is great is your mercy towards me, and then let's say that's for the altos, and then you want your tenors to do great is your mercy towards me. and then your altos feel, oh, that's too low, and then they go, "That is yours, it was me." If that's what they're comfortable with, then you need to give that higher octave to your soprano singers. So on no occasion should tenors have to go up because it's too low, right? So you need to make sure that soprano singers have the highest harmony. It doesn't have to be the melody. They can um, they can have a different harmony, and altos sing the melody of the song. So if you want a deeper dive into harmonies, you can invite me to come and teach your team. Wherever you are in the UK, we can come. And if you're abroad, we can do a workshop virtually. So soprano singers have the highest melody, alto singers take the next harmony down from that. Then tenor singers take the next harmony down from that. So how do we audition? So as a vocal director, sometimes you are tasked with the responsibilities of putting the team together. So you need to choose the best hands so that you get to choose the people that will not stress you. So and I need to say that the way a thing starts matters. So if you present your music team as a respectable team, one where they had to struggle and work hard to join, one that they had to demonstrate serious interest in order to enter, your team members will value the opportunity to join, and they won't treat it like a place where they can just come and go as they please. So things like auditions, interviews, probationary period, observations of character and commitment, these kind of things are essential before you admit people into your team. I've seen so many music teams have like 30 people in the group chat, but only 5 people are showing up, and that's allowed. Like, people are just hanging around, and they're not being committed, and we're just allowing people to just come into the choir and stay and do whatever they want. And it's really something to look into. So when it comes to auditions, you need to identify the purpose, define the purpose. So why are we auditioning? So auditions is not to embarrass anyone. It's just to make sure that the team functions well. So clarify whether it's for the is for people to enter the team, or is for restructuring, or is for allocation of parts, or solo opportunities. Whatever your reasons, you need to let the team know why you are auditioning. Set clear expectations. So let the applicants know in advance that they will be tested, what they will be tested on. So are we testing for harmony? Are we testing for confidence? Things like that. Provide a short audition pack or a guide so that they feel prepared. So you want to check pitch, can they sing in key? Timing, can they sing and stay on the beat? Ear, can they hear a note and replicate it with their voice? Tone, can their tone of voice work with those existing in your team, or does it match what you're looking for? Control, can they sustain the notes? Do they run out of breath easily? Retention, can they remember the harmony or the notes that you just taught them, right? And test their adaptability as well. Can they sing a harmony line and so ask them to sing a harmony line, and get them to blend, and then get them to harmonize. Can they follow directions in the middle of the song? Assess their confidence. How do they present? Do they connect with the audience while singing? Include some simple exercises. So you can ask them to run some scales after you do some call and response exercises. Sing a simple song. Get them to sing a simple song with others to test their blending. Observe their attitude. So it's not just about the singing as well, but they need to, do they take correction well? Are they nervous? Are they defensive, over explaining? Are they willing to learn? Do they have that team spirit, humility? And would they be a good fit for the team's culture? Always encourage, with your feedback, always encourage, even if they don't make the team. And you can suggest some training and some vocal coaching, or you can suggest another role for them if they're not quite ready for singing. So what are some of the common mistakes that vocal directors make? Like we said, there are many vocal directors, but and every music team should have one. But what would set you apart as a vocal director is your preparedness and your creativity, right? What are you coming up with? What are your ideas? How have you rearranged the songs? So, as a vocal director, you shouldn't be waiting till rehearsal to figure out your set list, your transitions, your creative arrangement, right? You need to be prepared well beforehand. As a vocal director, you can't expect people to know if you don't tell them, right? If you don't tell them, then assume that they don't know. So you need to be communicating your vision for the performance, and your vision for the stage persona during the rehearsal and on the day. Another common mistake is that people are not rehearsing in performance day position. So I see a lot of rehearsals, people sit in a circle and they just kind of, yeah, they just sing and just sit down. But you need to actually stand exactly how you are going to stand on the performance day. So you need to do a dress rehearsal. You need to be recording, um, yeah, you need to be recording your rehearsals. And having favorites in the team is not a good idea. I know it's not easy to not have favorites, but try to be professional, try to focus on the work, do what is best for the team and for the overall performance. If there are issues, tackle them head on and address the issues, right? So make sure that your rehearsals are not spent just focusing on the voices and the harmonies, but get them to stand in position, get them to practice delivery as they would on that day, right? So, because if you don't, you end up raising a choir that sounds good, but they don't have expression or good performance, right? So, it's very important. So, have a Sunday morning schedule. So, for example, let's say choir meets at 9 a.m., they pray, they do warm ups, they have they practice their stage presence, you confirm their seating arrangement or their standing arrangement. So, the choir director can do this, or the vocal director. You choose your song for sound check, you run through the song arrangements, and then you go to sound check at 9:45, and then you start your service at 11, right? So, by the D-Day, or by at least by the time we're about to go on stage, everybody should already by now know where they will be standing, right? But your job is to just give some gentle reminders. For example, if the sermon is rounding up, think about, okay, what's the next thing? What does the keyboardist need to know? What does the lead background vocalist drummer needs to know? Things like that. So always thinking ahead. You should have already worked on the blend, the balance, the diction, but you may just need to step in here and there if adjustments are needed. But please, on the day of the performance, on the D-Day or on stage, avoid giving new instructions or new directions. It can be chaotic, and of course, people also want to enjoy the moments. They don't want to have you just telling them what to do. So our our next facilitators will talk about sound check, and he'll tell us some of the terminologies to use when running sound check. But first things first, like we said, greet the sound team, greet the musicians, honor them for what they do, build a good relationship, build a good rapport with them on the day, so that they can go above and beyond for you. Your role, like we said, is to run the vocal warm-ups, lead the team through the short, effective warm-ups to reduce nerves and prepare the voices. So supervise the sound check, ensure that the right singers have the right mics, ensure that the levels are balanced, the levels are mixed, mics are correctly assigned, vocalists have the right input in their ears. Be ready to advocate for the singers with the sound team and with the musicians. Motivate them, encourage them, help them calm their nerves, ensure that everybody has what they need. Think in advance, be proactive, provide musicians with the key, with the set list, with the first song that we're singing. During the performance, provide non-verbal signs, signals, using your hand signals, using eye contact. So those are some of the things that you're supposed to do on performance day. Now, after the performance, give them feedback, give them encouragement, mention what went well, mention the areas that you would like to refine for next time. Take responsibility rather than blaming them. So if, for example, if something didn't go well, you can say, oh, actually, okay, maybe that was maybe I gave you guys too much, more than you guys could have handled. So you take that as your responsibility. That, okay, I pushed them way more. So try not to blame them. It usually doesn't end well. And then, of course, thank your sound team and your musicians especially. You can write a nice message. Okay. So some other tips. Be prepared for people not to appreciate what you do or appreciate the sacrifice that it takes, right? Don't get offended. Just keep going, keep doing it, right? As the vocal director, they've appointed you because they trust you, right? So give your lead vocalist some freedom to communicate with the team, right? Don't feel like you have to jump in to support every conversation. Let them ask their own questions and find answers. So for example, if you are in a rehearsal and the lead singer wants to ask, oh, how does the intro go? And you kind of see your lead singer trying to communicate with the band. Don't feel like you have to rush and go and advocate. I know we've said advocate for them, but let them also, have the freedom to ask questions or, learn in their own way. So don't feel like you have to jump into every conversation. Another tip is don't pay attention to people who believe that they could have done a better job than you. Even if they can, you were appointed for a reason. So rest assured in that, right? Like I said, they've appointed you because you're probably the most creative person in the team. You've demonstrated commitment and efficiency. So take your job seriously. Everybody's looking to you for guidance. So always bring something different to the set list. Come prepared with your gadgets, whatever you need, your iPad, your phone, your speakers, whatever you need. Maybe you need to play the guide or whatever. Just come prepared. They've appointed you for a reason. And then keep a repertoire of songs that you guys have learned together, and you sing in a certain way so that every time that song is raised, we all know how to sing it. So if you've rearranged the song, your love is so great, you're merciful and gracious. Let's say you've made some adjustments and you've added some creativity. Keep a recording of how you've done it, so that if you have a new member, you can just send that to the team. Okay, so I have a gift for you this Christmas. So this Christmas, Directing Voices is willing to partner with your music team, and support you to create an unforgettable Christmas carol service, Christmas production for your audience. So we will come to your team, we will work on your set list, we will come up with the songs, the arrangements. We will help you if you're doing a play or whatever. We'll help you with your scripting, choosing the songs, helping you with transitions and the flow of everything. We will help you with vocal direction, music direction for the entire concert. We will handle your rehearsals, handle vocal coaching. This is only available to music teams that are based in England, and you will need to have musical instruments and instrumentalists available to attend rehearsals, and there needs to be a minimum of 2 in-person rehearsals starting in November. And if you are interested in this, just take a screenshot, email that email address, and visit our website, directingvoices.co.uk/Christmas. Okay, so we are also offering choir training workshops. So if you visit directingvoices.co.uk/choir training, you will be able to see all the details on how to book a choir training workshop for your team. And now we have a very exciting product that we are launching. It's called the DV Voice Check. Hey, you think you can sing, right? But what would a professional vocal coach really say about your voice? So many of us sing week in, week out, in church, in school, in the car, but deep down we wonder, can I actually sing? Do I have potential? Could I even make a career from my voice? The truth is, most singers never get proper feedback. No auditions, no expert opinion, just hoping for the best. But before you invest in lessons, recording sessions, or audition to join that choir, Wouldn't it be great to know exactly where you stand? That's why at Directing Voices, we've created the DV Voice Check. It's like stepping onto the voice stage, but from the comfort of your home. Here's how it works. Record yourself singing with just your phone. Upload your video to our website. You'll receive a live video reaction to your voice from an experienced vocal coach. You'll hear what's good about your voice, what needs improving, what are the next steps that you can take to grow vocally, and even whether you have potential to be a paid singer. This isn't AI or auto-generated feedback. It's real human expertise, affordable, one-off assessment with no long-term commitment. It's perfect for the young, old, new, or experienced singers, or anyone who wants to know if there's potential. So stop guessing and start growing. Book your DV voice check today at directingvoices.co.uk. Yes. That is our latest product, which is now available on our website. I can't begin to count how many times someone has asked me to listen to their voice and tell them if they can actually sing, or if I go to a choir training workshop, people will ask me for a vocal assessment. And so that's why we've created the DV voice check, right? So it's really quick and really easy for you to get an expert opinion on your singing abilities before you go ahead and invest in singing lessons or whatever. And, choir directors, this can also form part of your choir development plan, for your vocalists, so that they can know what to work on. So, or if you have a friend that's a singer, you can gift this to your friend. So all you have to do is visit www.directingvoices.co.uk/DV voice check. Okay, so like the video said, it's like being on the voice stage. You get expert opinion, you get professional assessment, and our vocal coaches have a structured checklist when they're doing the feedback, so that everyone gets consistent and valuable professional feedback. So they have certain things that they're looking out for: your tone, your range, your breath control, your stamina, your posture, clarity, stage presence, confidence, all of those things. So they'll tell you what's good about your voice, what you need to work on, what the next step for you should be. And it's a one-off assessment. You don't have to, there's no commitment. You don't have to book them or use them. And of course, the coaches' contact details will be made available to you for you to contact them if you wanted more feedback. So yeah, so what I will do now is I'm going to hand over to Mr. Dave. He has been waiting patiently in the call. We really thank you for waiting. He'll talk about how to help your team write songs together, what are some of the equipment that you will need to set up your recording studio, how to run sound check, and what terminologies you need to know. So, Mr. Dave, are you ready for us? If you can, please unmute yourself.
Yes.
Awesome. Please, let's make him feel welcome. I see some questions. I will come to them, I promise. So, Mr. Dave, over to you.
Good afternoon. We're almost in the afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here today to share value with us. And I am David Awosheso, a music producer and a mixing and mastering engineer. So today I will be going through some topics, and I believe the first on the list, we are familiar with them, if not everything. So the first is how to help your team write a song together. So you as a vocal director, how do you work in hand with your team to bring her about a song or to compose a song? So number one thing you need to know, or you need to make your team understand, is there are structures that makes up a song. There's a structure that makes up a song. There's a section, right? So these sections are intro, verse, chorus, bridge, pre-chorus, instrumental, and outro. So let me start with intro before we go further. So what is intro? Intro is from the word introduction. So it is either, it's mostly the instrumental, like, let me use a popular song, if you know it, Days of Elijah. You see the musician start with a melody, they play for few seconds or minutes, then the singers comes in. So intro is what starts the song. Then we have the verse. The verse tells the story of the story of the song or the message, right? Then the chorus is the hook or the section that carries the acts of the song, right? That really talks about, the overview theme of the song. And we have the bridge, which is a contrast, is what brings variety into the song. I will go into this. Let me just list these sections for us. And we have the pre-chorus, right? Pre-chorus is that section that introduces the chorus, right? That's if you are coming from, let's say, the verse, the pre-chorus is always before chorus. If you are coming from the verse, you can say, oh yeah, pre-chorus, we go into pre-chorus, then we move into chorus. Then we have instrumental. Another word you can use for instrumental is interlude. So is that section in a song where you are just allowing the music to breathe and the musicians are just soloing. It could be a guitarist soloing or a trumpeter or the keyboardist or the drummer just soloing for a particular stream of time in the song before everyone continues, right? Most times it could be that the audience are just clapping, feeling the music. Then we have the outro, that is the end of the song. So the outro can be in form of an a cappella. It can also be that the musicians, orchestrated a melody or something to end the song, right? Or the whole band all together. So I haven't talked about the sessions that make up a song, or I haven't listed them. We have one thing. If you want to create a song with your team, or you want to compose a song as a vocal director, you need to understand that you need to have a theme the song is all about. With the theme, you need to agree with your team. Okay, do we want the songs to be about love, about faith? There should be a topic the song is centered around. Then from there, we can now start. Okay, we have a theme now. Let's start with chorus. Most times, it's always advisable to start with chorus. If you have a song that you want to create about love with your team, so the chorus can be, he loves us, oh yeah, he loves us, oh yeah, he loves us, oh yeah, he loves, right? So the verse talks about, what did you do for him to love you, right? Why did you deserve God's love, right? So the bridge, I've spoken about the intro, I've spoken about the verse, I've spoken about the chorus. So the bridge introduces another aspect of the song entirely. It brings another melody to add beauty to the already established structure. Then we have the instrumental. Then another thing you need to understand is song structure. This is the order at which you want the verse, how many times you want the verse to be sung, how many times when do you want the chorus to come up, how many times do you want the bridge. So the structure, you hear your music director or vocal director say, okay, let's take this chorus 3 times, let's take the verse once, so that is what we mean by structure. So to help your team write a song, you need to, number one, identify what is the song supposed to be about. the theme of the song. Is it love? Is it faith-based? What, or is it life? Yeah. Then you start with chorus. After you've gotten your chorus, you get your verse. After your verse, you get your bridge. After your bridge, you can choose to use interlude at some point. You get your outro, and that's all basically for it. When you listen to song, you can already hear this. We all listen to song, so stating this out makes it more glaring for us. So what are the equipment you will need? You will need to set up a basic recording studio. Now you have composed a song. Now you know how to compose a song with your team. Now the next thing is, okay, how do we record as a vocal director? Or how do I even record my guide professionally to send to my team? Or I have my team around and we want to capture our sound. How do you do that? You need some certain equipment to make that happen. So number one thing on the list is you need a laptop. A laptop, either a Windows laptop or a MacBook laptop, right? You need a laptop, and the requirement for this laptop should be as low as 8 gig RAM, 8 gig RAM upward. The requirement of the laptop should be as low as 8 gig RAM upward. Then the core should be at least Core i5 if you are using it for vocal recording. And then the next thing you need is a DAW. A DAW means digital audio workstation, right? A DAW is where everything happens. A DAW is where you get to select you install your DAW on your laptop, right? And every other thing you'll be connecting to the laptop, it is on the DAW you will get to use them. So we have DAWs like Logic, we have FL Studio, we have Pro Tools, we have Cubase, we have Studio One. You can check them out and find the one that suits you. So we have sound card, right? Another third equipment you will need to record your songs, or a basic recording gadget you need at home. Sound card, which is also called audio interface, right? So the sound card is like the brain box of the audio recording gadgets. If you have a laptop, you need a sound card to connect your headphone to. You need a sound card to connect your microphone to. So the sound card is what is capturing your audio, right? So we have Focusrite, we have Audience, we have Behringer sound card. There are a lot of sound cards out there you can check. So remember, another word you can call them is audio interface, right? And we have sound cards that comes in bundle. For example, this sound card we are seeing here on our screen comes in bundle. It comes with your headphone and the mic, everything you need. The only thing you might need to get for this sound card right now to get the perfect, bundle is a microphone stand and a pop filter. A microphone stand and a pop filter. I don't know if you can see this. It's on my screen. We have a pop filter. Another word for it is wind screen, right? You wear that pop filter on the microphone like this. You wear it on the microphone. So what the work of a pop filter does is to help reduce the impact of plosive sounds, sibilance that is coming from our mouth. You know, when we are singing, and imagine I just said sing, you can hear this, right? You don't want that to go through into your recording, right? So the windscreen or pop filter, so-called, help you reduce the intensity of these sibilant sounds, of these plosive sounds, right? So the next thing we need, right, is the microphone. If you're not getting a sound card that comes in bundle and you want to get them one after the other, because I mean, the microphone that comes with the bundle will serve you well, but there are mics that comes like just mic. They work more better too, right? They serve more purposes than the microphone that comes with bundle. So if you need guidance for that, to know what kind of mic you want, you can reach out. So the next thing you need is microphone, right? So you need either a dynamic microphone or a condenser microphone. If you check the screen right now, we have a microphone in silver color, right? Is it silver? Let's just say silver color, right? So that is a condenser microphone, right? So if you are looking for a condenser microphone is basically a microphone that is so sensitive that can capture everything around the room, can capture every detail, right? If you are using a condenser microphone and your place or surroundings is noisy, it's going to capture it. So it's not the best of mic you want to use when you are in a public, or you want to capture a clean sound without ambient noise. It's not the best. So if you are using a condenser microphone, you want to make sure your room or surroundings are well treated. So if your room or surroundings is a bit noisy or not acoustically treated, like you have a lot of reverbs, you would want to go for a dynamic mic. And that's where the second microphone in black color comes in. We have Shure SM7B, right? Shure SM7B. You can also get a mic if that is on a high budget for you. You can get a Shure microphone, right? This is a dynamic, our regular church mic, which is around $100 or $120. So those are the two mic. If you are considering a dynamic mic, you want to go for an MXL 990 or AKG. There are a lot of mics out there depending on your budget. But I use these ones you are seeing. I have them and they have been serving for years. They are rugged and they can record any instrument and any vocal, right? So next thing, I mentioned microphone stand. You need a microphone stand. The next thing on the list is headphone, right? We've talked about the pop filter windscreen. You need an headphone to be able to monitor what you are recording. You need an headphone to be able to hear what is happening on your system. Okay, is the sound we are capturing, is it good enough? Is it bold enough? Is it low? Right? So you need an headphone. We have a lot of headphones out there. This Behringer headphone, HPM 1000, we also serve. Is a very budgeted, low budget headphone, but can serve. Also, we have monitor. So in situation whereby you don't just want an headphone, you want to have that stage view experience, right? You can get a monitor, right? So we have Yamaha, we have Presonus, a lot out there. You can reach out if you would like to choose, like to be guided on which one will best suit your room or your budget. So we have a diagram of how everything you are going to be getting, the equipment you will need for your recording studio. This is how you couple them together. So if you look at the screen, you can see the computer. Though this computer is in desktop form, right? But you can either use a laptop or a desktop. In fact, you can use an iPad, Apple iPad, an iPad that is strong. I've seen guys use iPad, but it has to be a very strong one. But preferably, it's best to use a desktop or a laptop, right? Regardless if it's Mac or Windows. So you can see the number one thing is the sound card, right? Is like the center of everything. Everything is connected to the sound card, right? So you get your sound card. Your sound card with USB is connected to your laptop or your computer rather. Then your speakers is connected to your sound card. Most times the plugs, where you plug them for the speaker is always at the back of the sound card. Then you have your headphone. For most of the sound card, the headphone is usually at the front, except from some sound cards that have it at the back. So the next thing is you notice the microphone also is connected to the sound card. Then the MIDI keyboard is also connected to the sound card. But the MIDI keyboard in most cases is best advised connected to the computer directly. But because since you are a vocal director and probably you are not dealing with instruments, it's just vocals you are recording, you don't need a MIDI piano or a natural piano. What do we mean by a MIDI piano? A MIDI piano is a keyboard that doesn't have its own tone. It's not like our regular church keyboard that has their own sound. This one does not have sound. So how do you get the sound? The sound, there is a virtual piano. We have virtual pianos that are installed on the laptop. So this MIDI piano, this MIDI keyboard is what we use to trigger those virtual sounds that are installed on the piano. So let me rephrase everything again. The sound card is connected to the laptop, right? That's your computer, and your speakers or headphone or microphone are connected to your sound card. So without that, you cannot record quality audio as a vocal director. And all this, you can get them online, right? So how to run a sound check? This is the next. How to run a sound check. As a vocal director, you are you are preparing for a program and you need to get your team ready. You need to make sure the mics are working well. So the number one thing is line check. Line check. You hear your engineer tell you, please, can we get ready? Let's have people test the mic. That instance is where the engineer is saying, can someone test the mic? Please, vocal director, can you get some of your guys to help test the mic? One thing, what they are trying to say is, can we do some line check? Let's make sure the mics, the equipment are working. So line check is, we have a band of 12 people, a team of 20 people. Line check is individual mic or equipment those teams are handling. We want to check if they are working, if they are on, right? If they are in good state, that's line check. So the engineer stays on the console, that's on the mixer, and watch someone plays or talk to the mic and make sure he's able to get signal into the mixer, the right signal. So that's line check. So we move to sound check. Sound check is balancing everybody together as band. Some people usually mistake line check for sound check and vice versa, right? But line check is different from sound check. Sound check is now having the whole team together, having the choir and the musicians together to play. Most times as a vocal director, at that point that we are doing sound check, we've moved from line check to sound check now. At the point we are doing sound check, you see professionals sing the song they've been rehearsing. That's the climax part of the song or the high point of the song. Is advisable. The most energetic part of that song, let everybody sing it so that the engineers can set threshold, can do their thing. If you are doing a sound check with a soft song and the engineers set everything, parameters, puts everything in place, and you get on the stage while program is on, and you are now singing high, like times 10 of the energy you used in sound checking. This is what results in bad audio. right? This is what results in bad live streaming, bad concert experience, sound wise. So as a vocal director, if you don't want issues with audio and or your team saying they can't hear themselves or this instrument is too loud, you want to make sure that when you get to the sound checkpoint, you make sure everybody, if it's we give you all the glory, we worship you, our God, that is the highest part of your song selections. You want to make sure they are repeating that part so that everybody can set their, stuff. So terminologies you must know as a vocal director. It's not enough to direct, to know how to split parts without knowing these terminologies, right? Because you are not just dealing with your teams alone, your vocalist, your musician, you are also dealing with light guys, sound guys. So it's so they can, when people know that you understand their language, there's this connection that it gives, especially in music. So terminologies, one is microphone. For terminologies for microphone and sound, basically gain. Gain is the input level of your microphone, how sensitive it is to your voice, right? Volume is fader. So if you are conversant with a mixer, the terminologies under this microphone and sound, basically you will see them, right? You will see them like live on your mixer, the gain, the volume, right? So the volume is how loud you hear yourself, okay? We have the EQ, which is from the word equalization. So the EQ is the bass, the mid, the treble. You hear some people say, can the engineer please give me treble? Do you get? Can the engineer give me a mid or low? I'm sounding too bassy. Can they reduce it? So you are talking about EQ here, right? EQ helps us shapes our tone, right? And feedback, another word, another terminologies you need to know as a vocal director is feedback, right? The high pitch swelling sound when mic clash with speakers. You'll be on the altar and mistakenly point your mic towards the speaker, right? Directly into the speaker, and you just hear this, right? That is feedback. Or you hear a very disturbing echo sound, right? That is what is called feedback. So another terminologies you need to know under monitor is, stage monitor, which is, when we say monitor, I mean speaker, right? So we have speaker, studio monitor, we have live stage monitor, yeah, and wedges, the speaker facing the singer on the stage so they can hear themselves. These are what we call monitor, yeah. So the studio monitor, if you are buying a monitor for the equipment you require to have your recording studio, that is called a studio monitor, right? So another terminology you need to know is in-ear monitor. If you are seeing IEM online, people talking about IEM mix, that is in-ear monitor. When you're on stage, you see singers or lead vocal have an in-ear on their ears while singing. So it is used to communicate, right? It's used for communication between between the bands, right? So the in-ear looks like this. I don't know if you can see it. It looks like this. So you hang it on your ear, into your ears like this. You can barely see it, right? So that's in-ear monitors. We have monitor mix, the specific sound you hear in your monitor, right? Monitor mix. So the sound you are hearing in your in-ear or on your stage mixer is what we call monitor mix. Okay, so mommy, another terminology you need to know is mommy. That's basically you are requesting for the engineer or the person in charge of the in-ear monitor mix to turn up your voice in the monitor, right? So another terminologies you need to know as regards house sound is a FOH. If you are hearing the word FOH for the first time, or you've been hearing it, you don't know the meaning, it simply means front of house, the speaker facing the audience. Those, whether they are hanging it, those two speakers they hang that are or each other hanged in your church or placed on the floor, so they are called front of house speaker. We also have house mix, another terminology, house mix. Remember, we have monitor mix, which is what the singer hears on stage, right? House mix is what the overall, is what the audience hears. Is the overall sound balance that the audience hears. So we have engineer, right? Engineer is the person controlling both monitors and FOH. The engineer is that person you see, the sound engineer is that person you see on the console that is making sure you are sounding right, tweaking every of the thing. So we move to the next. So we have another terminology as sound check phrase you need to know, right? So sound check phrase you need to know, terminologies in that is line check. I talked about line check earlier on. So quickly testing if all mics are working or instruments, that's line check. So how do you test your mic? How do you do the line check, right? Real life. So it's the word mic check, check 1 2, mic check, like mic microphone, mic check 1 2, mic check 1 2. You hear some people say praise the Lord, right? Whichever works, but professionally, mic check 1 2, mic check 1 2, testing microphone. That's the standard way to test a mic. So check levels, right? Adjusting how loud or soft each instrument or vocal is. So if you are talking to the engineer, please can you check the levels of the team of the BGVs? BGVs means background vocalist. So balance, another terminology you need to know is balance. Make sure no single instrument or voice is overpowering each other, right? Okay, good engineer, everything is balanced now. It means everybody are being heard without any instrument or vocal overpowering or overshadowing each other, right? So another terminologies you need to know is cut. Cut simply means reduce. Cut means reduce a certain frequency or volume, right? Boost also means increase a certain sound frequency or volume. Number 5 is, common requests singers might say, right? Can I have more mic in my monitor? Can I have more mic in my monitor? Can I have more BGV in my monitor? That's the speaker in front of you. You shouldn't be, you should be careful how you talk to engineer, because some of them are already angry on stage. Maybe a musician, they easily get pissed off with stuff, probably due to stress at times. So you should be very constructive on how you make requests. You shouldn't be saying, can't you hear my voice is low? My voice is low. What's happening? I'm not feeling myself, right? Instead, please, can I have more BGVs? Can I have more of my voice on this monitor? So you are indirectly saying that your voice is low, right? Can you bring down the keyboard a bit on my monitor? You are indirectly saying that the keyboard or any instrument you are particularly talking about is loud. Please add more reverb to my vocal. Instead of my vocal is too dry, tell them, please add more reverb to my vocal. It simply means you want more warmth, or echo on your vocals, right? So another one is my mic sound too sharp. My mic sounds too sharp or bright. It means can you cut the highs a little? So you can either say, please, my mic is too sharp, or my mic sounding dull. The engineer knows what to do. If you are saying my mic is too sharp, they know they are to cut the treble. That's the highs of the mic. If you are saying your mic is too dull, it's sounding dull, it simply means to them that they are to increase your high or cut your low. That's your vocals, to give you a round tone. And the next, I think that's all for now. If you have any question, please, you can drop on the comment section.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. David. I learned so much, and I think a lot of people have learned a lot. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat now. We have run over time, so let me just go through the chat to see what questions we have. So how just wondering how all these techniques are possible with online rehearsal. Mr. Dave, what do you think about choirs that do online rehearsals? Let me stop sharing my screen. What do you think? Oh, you're muted.
So online rehearsals is not bad. So I believe online rehearsals should be that, meeting you have where you talk about the vision of the song, what you are trying to achieve, probably split part, right? But I've heard people say they do a whole concert and they had the rehearsals online all through. That's you are dealing with high profile musicians that have good network, but there's no how you are going to do it. Even on that live, on the day of the concert, you will still have to rehearse together. So it's not the best form actually. However, because of the time schedule of every other people, it helps. So you just split part. Okay, this is the part you are singing soprano, this, you play, you send the recording of the part, they learn it. Then it makes the actual rehearsal, the live rehearsal, faster. It makes it precise, and everybody gets to achieve the result on time. So that's what I think about online rehearsal. You use it to prepare the minds of the people, to share the vision about the program or the service on Sunday. So when you now meet on the actual rehearsal day, you can work swiftly and achieve better results.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yeah, like you said, some choirs only do online rehearsals and that's it. So you said that it's not ideal. you are not ready. If you are just doing online rehearsals, then you need to, yeah. How do we manage our busy schedules in the UK, especially with commitment to choir ministry? I think you just need to delegate. So you can, like I said, there's nothing wrong with everybody in the team having the knowledge and the skills to be a vocal director. Like everybody can step in to that role. Not that some people are leaders, some people are not. No, you can train everybody to be a leader, but we should identify one person that is going to be the vocal director for this particular session or for this particular rehearsal. So you can delegate. So if there are 3 people in the choir, for example, you can say, okay, you will be responsible for doing the arrangement. I will be responsible for handling the rehearsals. Then you will be responsible for this. So everybody's doing some sort of vocal director work, but when we come together, it's one person that is like the leader. So that's how you can share it if you're very busy, but you really need to sit down and look at what are the roles and the responsibilities of a vocal director and how can we share it, you know. Are there any? Is there anything in the chat? Okay. Okay. So I just want to say thank you, everybody, for waiting, for joining. We are so grateful. This has been amazing. If you have any further questions, you can follow Directing Voices. Visit our website, directingvoices.co.uk. You'll see all our products and our services, the choir training workshops, the choir coaching, the lead vocalists. You can, if you need singers, if you need, whatever you need for your team, whatever questions you have, just follow us on Instagram or, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're always sharing useful videos and tips and tricks for your team. You can email us at business@directingvoices.co.uk, or you can email abigailcrownmusic@gmail.com. And you can please follow Mr. Dave on Instagram. He's at Mr. Dave underscore DMH. What does the DMH stand for, Mr. Dave? Just curious.
Dave Music House.
Oh, nice. Dave Music House. Amazing, amazing. So his email there as well, and the WhatsApp number. Please feel free to screenshot this, reach out to him if you have any questions, if you want him to check anything for you in your studio or anything. Please reach out, and please help us thank him specially for doing this for Directing Voices. He has been so helpful and so gracious. I really want to thank you all for being here, and we are going to end the live stream at this point. If there are no other questions, how somebody asked how you can reach me. I've provided my email address. I think somebody was asking about the cost of the studio equipment. You will just have to Google it because the prices change. So, somebody asked, should vocal directors also sing with the BVs? So, like I said, the vocal directors should sit outside of the BVs, but they can join them. But if your vocal director during rehearsal was busy putting things in place and correcting parts, then they haven't really had the chance to properly rehearse and blend with the team as well. So it's a risk because you're asking somebody that wasn't really rehearsing with us to sing if they've not really if they've not really listen to the song to sing it, because you can listen to a song to teach it, but you can also be ready to sing the song. So it's possible, but ideally have somebody that is professional that can sit outside of the team. But I've seen in many cases where the vocal director joins the team. So thank you everybody for being here. I'm so grateful. And the live stream will be available for you to watch again. And we will see you all very soon. Like I said, it's our 1 year anniversary. Directing Voices will be 1 year in November next month. So we will be celebrating that in a big way. We've had so many amazing successes in this 1 year. So it's going to be a great celebration. So visit directingvoices.co.uk/DV voice check. If you want vocal assessment, you want to know where you stand with this singing thing. You're like, can I actually sing? Is this voice actually good enough to do anything? Trust me, our vocal coaches are ready. I am not a vocal coach, so it's not me doing the voice check. So we've hired a professional vocal coach who, once you pay for your voice check, you'll be able to see her. She's very well known on Instagram, thousands and thousands of followers. So she's the one doing the voice check, voice assessment, and she's going to be thorough. She will tell you as it is, right? So if you're trying to audition for your choir or anything like that, you can use this as a way to let the person know. Some choirs, you have certain things you want to say to this person, but because of respect, you don't want to really break the person's heart. Send them for a voice check. Our vocal coach will tell them as it is. So please, please, please just visit the website. We have revamped the website. Let me just show you real quick. This is directingvoices.co.uk. Okay, so if you see here, you've got our header here, and then all the master classes are here. So you can see our past master classes here. These are the facilitators that you've been speaking to today. And then you can see all our products. So we talked a lot about vocal auditions today, how to hold audition. So we are working very actively on a curriculum, right? A very detailed toolkit that you can purchase to use to audition your choirs and your singers from anywhere in the world. So you'll be able to audition without ever showing your face. They will just get this pack and they will be able to complete their audition from home. So we're working on that. We're working on some singing lessons, some ad-lib lessons, lead praise and worship lessons. So, and this is our DV voice check. So this is the DV voice check. This is the page, and this is the video that we watch. So you come here, you fill in all your details, you submit your files and all of that. And it's easy once you're, what I didn't mention is that they'll give you a live reaction. So the voice coach will actually record a video reacting, doing a live reaction to your voice, right? So they'll listen to your submission and they'll actually listen firsthand. So you'll get first impression, and then they'll give you feedback. They'll tell you all the things you need to work on. And it's such a good idea. We've tested it and it's beautiful. So this is the website. Like I said, all our products are there. We have several services. You can book a free consultation. You can book some background vocals if you need professional vocalists, maybe on your album or your track, your recording. If you want lead vocals, if you want vocal directing, this is our Christmas production. So like I said earlier, we are willing to come down to your location. Our vocal directors are ready to come and help you put your Christmas carol service, Christmas production together. It's going to be amazing, 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 amazing. If you want some choir assessment, so the DV voice check is for individuals to assess their voices. So you can also have a choir assessment, right? So that's available as well. And then we have choir training workshops. So if you're ready to book a choir training workshop, the form is there. You can book it. We also have choir coaching and music project management. So we have a team of producers and graphic designers and web designers that will help you bring your music project to life from start to finish. They'll work with you to release that song, release that album, and you know it will be distributed on major music platforms virtually. So and we will also help you plan your concert. So this is our email address. This is the YouTube channel. This is the Instagram page. And yeah, so please take time to visit the website and tell somebody about this. And yeah, it's our last masterclass for the year. And we are so grateful to everybody that has partnered with us, that has supported us. We are grateful. And I wish you a very happy rest of the year. I have to log out now. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Dave. Thank you so much, so much for being here. We are so grateful. We have learned so much about line check, about sound check, about, you know, all the things that we need to say, the EQ, the high, the mid and the low, and all of those things. So grateful, so valuable. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Take care. Yes, thank you so much. God bless you, everyone. Take care and goodbye. Bye.